And I know there's going to be argument there, but for me, curation means the why. Why am I curating this piece? Without that very important why, to me, it's just sharing.
We've got Brooke. Brooke Ballard is here.
Hi.
We're going to be talking about content curation, and I'm going to basically just quote you here. Curation is the act of analyzing, organizing, and or summarizing. Do you want to add anything to that?
We actually don't even call it curation. We call it think conversation content, because our goal is to analyze it, summarize it, and give a reason as to why we're sharing it, which I think is a very important aspect of curation and not sharing kind of thing.
Content curation as opposed to aggregation.
For me, curation involves kind of taking it even a step further. So you're sharing a piece of content and you're giving your own context to that piece of content. So I think context is the key word. So I need to let my audience know why this piece of content was chosen for them, if it's not my original piece of content.
You know what your channel is, you know who your customers are, and you're looking for something that's going to be beneficial to them. You're not just pushing stuff out constantly, just randomly doing anything just to be on the highway of social media or something like that.
I keep a list on Twitter of people who are content curators, and I ignore those people because to me they just share headlines.
If you look at the stats, most people share and they haven't curated, they haven't read, they haven't figured out if that fits with their audience or used any sort of audience development tactics to figure out if that piece of content fits.
In order to be a successful or a good curator, do you have to be a subject expert in that matter?
Audience development plays such a huge part of curation, and so many people are missing that audience development step that I think you could expertly say, oh, this is a great piece because, this is really just an opinion, and you could sound very smart, but if you're not really developing your audience, which is a skill that you have to do curation right, I think it's probably just going to fall on deaf ears anyhow. I do use curation. Curation has actually led to me getting business deals, so I'm not against curation at all, but I am against blindly sharing and creating more noise.
Anybody who's just retweeting and just putting out other people's content is missing the boat. I don't think they're understanding the evolution of social media.
All I see that you do is share other people's content or retweet, or you don't have any of your own original content. There's not going to be any way for me to connect with your brand or your brand messaging.
What is it that captures your attention?
I trust you. I know you. We have a relationship. I'm going to click through and take a gander. If I don't know the person, that second level for me is definitely the headline. So does it speak to me enough to want to find out more? And then I'll click through and start to read.
Creating content is a type of superpower, and curating and finding the exact content your audience wants is a different kind of superpower. And it's really hard to build both of those at the same time. So if you tend towards one, I would say do that one and do it really well, and just be aware of what else could come as part of when do you need a sidekick and how do you bring in that particular skill.
Your brand has a personality. Sometimes let your personality be beyond the brand. In other words, let your personal be part of the brand.
If we need to sum up the entire show, maybe the one thing that keeps on coming to me is that it's all about relationship building.
Well, thanks, guys. That was a fun show. And Brooke, anytime you want to come back and join us, just, have lunch on a Tuesday with us would be great. We'll see you next week with episode 81. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.